Want candy now?
So let's pop into the second banner here. We have Burning Duel, a 6-star Dragon's Fist for Zell here. Small boost to fire damage in all realms, so that is actually quite good. Sabin can make great use of this as well in Final Fantasy VIII situations. If you, for whatever reason, aren't using it with Zell, you don't have him leveled yet. 175 attack, good attack stat for a fist weapon, and Burning Duel. Instantly deal 12 physical fire and non-elemental attacks to one target. Temporarily infuse the user with the power of fire. Raise the user's attack a moderate amount, defense a small amount. Cause the user's critical hits to trigger a chase, which is 4 physical fire non-elemental attacks to one target. So this is actually quite a good USB here. It's kind of got a semi-hidden modifier here, which is you need to crit for the chase to proc. So you're going to want to stack this with ideally his LMR on this banner, which starts him in battle with a large crit buff. Alternatively, you could use his BSB, but that's going to cut your time down, his efficiency down, because you'll need to burn or entrust that extra soul break gauge to get that going. And as well, you could use something like Eco's BSB, which is the heal with the crit buff. You have Ramza's Chant soul break. So there are other sources if you're team building properly for that. But as long as you can get that crit buff on him, and you can trigger that chase, you'll get the end fire, you get a great amount of physical fire attacks for when Locke's chain soul break for fire comes out. That'll be great right there for that. Again, it's a really good USB. It kind of makes his BSB a little bit more outdated because you'll definitely want to be using this and getting that chase, but just remember to get that crit buff from somewhere, preferably not his BSB. Next up here we have the OSB for Rajin. We can get through this one pretty dang quickly right here because it's basically just a monk version of Kane's OSB. You got a good attack stat right there, and it's a staff, stick, hammer. So another one of those confusions. We've seen those before. They're quite fun. And the synergy bonus to lightning damage kind of fits Rajin's theme. He's definitely like a B+, A- character. His Super Soul Break, again, is in kind of a different category, and we'll go over that when we get to it. But the OSB here, Dragon Rising, massive physical lightning non-elemental, and scales more for all the monk abilities you've used. If you have or have seen Kane's OSB, it's basically the same thing, but sub out Dragoon and jump damage for monk here. Kane is going to have a lightning chain soul break upcoming, so I would say Kane is going to be the better lightning-based character overall. But Rajin is pretty dang good, and if you happen to have his SSB, this could be just kind of a nice complementary finishing move for him there, and mastery points. Next up here, Burning Fist. It's Zell's BSB. This one is actually quite old, and the fist weapon adds all realms fire damage here as well, which makes this something to consider, even though attack stat is significantly less, so you prefer the native 6-star. This still will have some functionality here, especially with synergy boosts. Duelist Burst Soul Break, 10 instant physical attacks to random targets with a moderate chance to interrupt their pending actions, and raise the critical hit chance of all allies a large amount. Haste Burst Mode to the user. So again, you can use this to help out with the USB. You're just going to have to waste some time getting, or again, entrusting that extra gauge to get that fired off if you're going that route. You have the Headlong Rush, 4 physical attacks to one target, and lower the user's defense for an attack buff, so you have the Bargain on Command 1 here. Lightning Reflexes, 4 physical attacks to one target, and remove the delay from the user's next action. So, I guess you could potentially try and combine this with the USB, but you have better options. You lose the fire element if you're trying to go that route with this, so the end fire that you get from the USB won't be nearly as helpful. So I wouldn't really recommend it. I would kind of just devote all of the soul break gauge to the USB if you pull for it and you're happening to get it and using it on him. But with that being said, if you don't happen to get it, this is still a relatively good BSB here. Even though it's kind of old, it kind of has enough good features on it that make it stand up. And it doesn't do an amazing amount of damage overall, but it's still pretty good. You got the instant on there, which is always nice. Next up here, we have Rajin's BSB, the Rajin Staff. Again, the Staff Hammer. I don't know where they're pulling these associations from, but let's not question it. Let's just go with it. 133 attack and the All Realms boost to lightning damage. Unfortunately, low stats, but you do get that bonus effect that you like to see there. You do have the BSB Rajin Special. 8 physical lightning non-elemental attacks to one target. Temporarily infuse the user with the power of lightning and haste burst mode to the user. You have Lurking Tiger. Temporarily increase the charge level of Rajin Detonate by 1 up to 6. Restore a moderate amount of HP to one target based on their max. Unfortunately, there's no damage on this command whatsoever. Then you'll have Rajin Detonate, 4 to 10 physical lightning non-elemental attacks to a single target, and remove all charge levels from the user. Number and strength of attacks increases with the charge level. I am not a huge fan of this. Unfortunately, you do have a relatively good entry, or kind of standard actually, but it's 8 to 1 target, so reasonable damage from that and lightning, but no damage on the burst command 1 and consumable stacks that go away on command 2 just make this a very slow BSB. It's not going to be super great for time clears on stuff like Bismarck and Magicite dungeons, and it even falls flat when you compare it to something like Joseph's BSB from the last banner, where he only has to use the command once. Unfortunately, he loses 2 stats, so it's a double debuff bargain, but he only has to use that command once, and then he can just spam out 6 hits on the first command continually. So when you compare something like this to that, even to Joseph, this kind of falls flat right here, and it's not a mechanic that I would be super interested in pursuing. Next up here, we have the Formalhaut. It's Laguna's lightning-based BSB here. 122 attack on a gun and no bonus effects means the relic itself is nothing really noteworthy. And Split Laser, 8 ranged physical lightning non-elemental attacks to random targets. Temporarily lower their resistance to lightning and haste burst mode to the user. At least you have 8 hits, and the randomness of it means that there are situations like Calcibrina, for example, when you're fighting all 6 of those dolls. Situations like that where you'll miss targets and potentially miss your Imperil, but in a single target boss battle it won't be too big of an issue. Just keep that in the back of your mind there. You have Rapid Punishment, 4 ranged physical lightning and non-elemental attacks to random targets with a small chance to paralyze and silence them, and Miraculous Vision, ranged physical lightning non-elemental damage to one target, and remove the delay from the user's machinist abilities for 2 turns. This sets you up for a great combo here with Tempest Snipe, so you can basically cast the BSB, Imperil Lightning, get your delay reduction here by using this once, then use Tempest Snipe, and then just alternate between Miraculous Visions and Tempest Snipe back and forth, and that's going to give you actually a really good lightning DPS combo. Probably not as good as what you can get from a character like Prompto, who's just dedicated to lightning, but being that Laguna can kind of do both and, you know, has the ice and lightning functionality, makes him still an attractive character in terms of functionality. So I like this for having just that versatility on him, but I'm still not going to pull on this event, you guys. I'm going to wait for the next event. Burst Soulbreak Metsu, Fujin's Shin Chakram. This is a great BSB right here and holds its relevancy long into the future. Thrown Weapon with Thrown Weapon style stats. You have the small boost to wind damage always in effect, which is great for Fujin. It really helps her out, and her jacket, I believe, has the damage boost as well, so you can double stack that bonus effect right there. Oh, it's really good. I love Fujin, you guys. She's definitely bae. I like her, I think, even more than Adia. Burst Soul Break Metsu here. 5 instant magic wind and non-elemental attacks to all targets. Lower their magic and resistance a large amount, and haste burst mode to the user. You have the instant attacks right there, which make this pretty good. Unfortunately, it's not ultra good by itself in Magicite because you won't get so much functionality out of the debuffs. And the burst abilities right here, Shitsu, 4 magic wind on elemental attacks to one target with a reduced delay before hitting. This is spammable in Magicite, but it's great outside of that as well. You'll get that kind of ninja magic with the reduced delay, good DPS qualities, and Hakai, which Beerus, love Dragon Ball Super right there. Deal magic wind and non-elemental damage to one target, and temporarily lower its resistance a moderate amount, and reduce delay on this as well. So this resistance debuff will stack with the entry, which again is great for non-Magicite situations. But overall, I believe her Super Soul Break is kind of necessary, or her LMR for now, because this is lacking the N-Wind. You don't get that source of N-Wind off of this. So you'll need to cast the SSB first, or you'll need to have her LMR to lead into the OSB for the maximum DPS spammability in Magicite. Again though, this does stand the test of time. It does great DPS, and you can combine it with stuff like Terra's Record Materia to get double cast Black Magic for 8 hits. I really like it. I really like Fujin, and her USB that's upcoming has an amazing chase on it, and that's what I'm going to be saving for in terms of Final Fantasy VIII. We have Zell's jacket here, Legend Materia, very similar stats to all the other light armor we've seen in this event. Untamed Spirit, begin battle with critical hit chance, temporarily raised a large amount. This is almost purpose built for his USB, but it'll help out his DPS even outside of that if you happen to get this without the USB. But by itself, this basically makes Zell just a weapon who's not reliant on any other source of crit buff or any other character for that buff, to just kind of dive right into his USB and get that chase mechanic going as best as you possibly can. So this is an LMR that you would want to get if you're kind of trying to build Zell up. Not so much this bolt armlet here. Do have a Rajin LMR bracers, so you got split stats all over the place, and lightning resistance. Unfortunately, it's not super great. Thunderous Crescendo, moderate chance to reduce the delay of the user's actions for 1 turn after using a monk ability. This does actually make his BSB function a little bit better if you do get the delay reduction. It is moderate, so better than a small chance for sure. It'll definitely help kickstart that and help get that burst commands rolling there. I'm just not super impressed with anything coming from Rajin except for his Super Soul Break, which again, it's coming up here and it's quite good. Legend Materia for Fujin here, it's bracers again, so split stats all over the place. Wind resistance, so you'll want to master this and then ideally equip her Super Soul Break armor because it'll have the wind damage buff. But if you're having a lot of trouble, I guess, in Fenrir, you might be able to equip this and mitigate some of that damage. Raging Winds, begin battle temporarily infused with the power of wind. Again, her BSB is missing this, so this really helps kickstart spamming her OSB and Magicite. It adds damage to her BSB without having to use her Super Soul Break first. And until her USB comes out, it's just another really good source of N-Wind for Fujin there. Definitely that one and Zell's are the great LMRs on this banner, and Rajin is just kind of average. We have a really old Super Soul Break for Zell here, Ekerges, which is the name of a PlayStation fighting game with Final Fantasy characters from way back in the day. Fist weapon, low stats, no bonus effects, different beat, 8 physical attacks to 1 target, temporarily raise the critical hit chance a moderate amount. Unfortunately, with so many other large crit buffs out, you're pretty much never going to want to use this. It'll not help out really at all if you have better ways of getting that mechanic going. So unfortunately, just like it's grayed out right here, it's not something that you want. Rajin's Super Soul Break. This one is really good and is a shining example of how sometimes Super Soul Breaks can still be amazing and even rival some USBs, kind of like Arcs and Edges do both. We have Rajin's Pauldrons here, light armor, a little bit less stats than what we've seen comparative to other light armors on these banners, but you have the small boost to lightning damage, so that kind of makes up for it. It's all realms, you can make good use of that for Kain, I guess, even though Kain kind of favors heavy armor, but you can use this to get that for an attack-based character anyway. Super Soul Break Aura, remove the delay from the actions of all allies for 1 turn. Grant them Last Stand and Major Regen. That is extremely useful. It's helpful for Magicite, shaving time off. It's just a shame that he's not a little bit better of a character in terms of lightning damage for Bismarck. But you do get that delay reduction to everybody, the Last Stand. Major Regen combos really well with Last Stand because if you're poisoned or sapped, it can kind of help counteract that. And if characters are all down to 1 health, it'll help get them kind of back to a little bit more stable of a place. So Major Regen might not always be useful, but this is a good combination of effects right here. It's actually really good. Next up here we have Fujin's Jacket. It is a small boost to wind damage, light armor, so that's for double stacking with her BSB to get the double wind boost right there. Great piece of equipment just for that alone. Super Soul Break Zan, 8 instant magic wind on elemental attacks to 1 target. Temporarily infuse the user with the power of wind. If you were to just spam this over and over again, the damage output on it actually can rival her OSB in certain situations. If you don't have her OSB and you need that kind of effect, you can do that. You get the 8 attacks. If you have her LMR, you'll get the first one with a damage boost since you'll already have the N wind. But if you don't have her LMR until her USB comes out, this is her source of N wind. So you can also cast this, lead into her BSB or her OSB for just that extra efficiency right there, extra little damage bump. It's actually like 40% or something, maybe even more, but it definitely helps out quite a bit. Alright, so we've got both banners covered here. We're definitely pushing time a little bit, actually a lot of bit. So I might separate this actually into 2 episodes and then just release them side by side, because we're at kind of 40 minutes here. So with that being said, let's make the draws here. Do 100 gem right here, right now. And see if we get lucky. If we get Laguna's USB, that would be great. Or its BSB. Or really anything on this particular banner, because I don't really have anything, I think. I don't have any dupes on this banner at all. But, alas, only a 3-star poopy white mage robe. I didn't really get my hopes up for that one, but we have another 2 100 gem draws that we can make right now. So let's go back. Oh, this is the Laguna USB banner. Sorry. Actually, I don't know. That would make my pulls a little bit more dangerous on the next Final Fantasy VIII event. So maybe not the USB. I really wish I would have gotten an N win for Fujin off that 100 gem draw. But 2 3-stars. So I can't really be mad at one banner or the other, or unhappy about anything, because I didn't see anything. And to finish things out, I believe we have a 100 gem draw. Was it on Tactics? Yeah, we can do this one right here. The Type 0. I know I need I'm not going to do that one right now because I don't really feel like spending another $1 currently. Might save that for the future. And another 3-star. So, man, we are not doing so hot on 100 gem draws these days. Anyway, you guys, I want to kind of wrap it up quickly here. We've been going for a little bit, and again, I might split this up into a 2-parter just to keep the time down for you guys because people don't really like 40-minute long videos. But I hope you guys did enjoy this episode or episodes of Relic Review here. I hope you guys, if you're new here, will consider hitting the subscribe and the notification bell so I can see you again on future videos. And as well, if you like the content, leave me a thumbs up. Definitely helps spread me out on YouTube, which I supremely appreciate. Hope you guys do have a great day. Let me know down in the comments if you made any pulls, what you're planning for. Again, I would urge you guys to potentially wait for the next Final Fantasy VIII event, but let me know what's going on with your Final Fantasy Record Keeper situation down in the comments. And I hope you guys have a great day or evening. I will catch you on the next video. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.